Hey everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. Meat Eater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Yanni, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the Engineer's going to be there. Meat Eater Live, headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay, every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Art Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, the Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.
Hey, I'm KC.
And I'm Tyler.
And you're listening to
The Element Podcast.
What is happening, all you woods people? Guess what? Deer season is about near here.
Oh, my
It's
goodness.
crazy. Tyler and I have been discussing what we should do for content with video stuff and with podcasts and all that stuff. And we've about decided we are just tired of this. We want to go hunt. But you know what? We love y'all, so we're going to keep doing this stuff. Today, we are actually going to do a ton of gear talk because we got some new gear. And we got some old deer
gear.
And we got, what else are we going to do today?
Oh, we're going to talk about gear, and we're going to talk about
Something else we really want to talk about.
We're idiots. What are we going to talk about?
New bulls.
And then we're going to talk about traveling to hunt.
That's right. Traveling to hunt. That's right. It'd be good to know for at least one of us to know what we're going to talk about.
Now y'all know how
podcast.
professional we are.
That's right. That's right. We used to write all this stuff down and be real diligent about it, but now we're just like, this is what's on our mind, so let's talk. Which is good, though, right? Because like if it's on your mind, it's the freshest thing to talk about. There's nothing like trying to. We used to do this, and it worked well because. It's when those guys could be available, but we'd do like a podcast with Mark Drury, and it'd be about like late October tactics, and it's like June, and you're like, how do we talk about this right now,
Yeah.
But it works. But today, before we get rolling on our new stuff, we do want to tell you that if you don't know this, Michigan people rage whenever you show them big bucks on trail camera in their own state. Just kidding. If you're one of our Michigan fans, we really appreciate you. But you do have a few brethren that you need to rein in a little bit because they get real mad. But
I imagine they think the same about us Texans, too.
Probably so.
Y'all
Texans
should rein in
rage,
some-
too. So it's about 1 to 10. Isn't that what you kind of said that today, I think, about how ragers to people who really appreciate it. So
At most, I think.
Yeah.
We get, so what Casey's talking about is we have just released the Michigan Map Scout Challenge. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. We'll try to remember to link in this, just like we remembered what the subjects of this podcast was. But we just released that podcast, and there was a couple of people, maybe one or two. One guy was kind of more just telling us how awesome of a hunter he was. The other guy was telling us about how, here's the thing. I might have mentioned this recently, but people love to do some sarcastic commenting towards each other on the internet. And so sarcastically kind of almost passively, but kind of aggressively told us about how we shouldn't be, showing stuff on the maps and stuff. And here's the deal is, Onyx has believed in us for a long time now. Mm-hmm. I'm very proud to use that app, and I think it does a really awesome job. I know a ton of people that use the app, even guys that are sponsored by different companies that use the app.
That's right.
I'll just say that. But we don't hold a whole lot back, and the main reason that we do that on these Map Scout challenges is because we're trying to, there are a lot of people that are already subscribers or audience members here that really are appreciative of what we do and what we show and how we, whether or not you feel like we have anything to teach you or not, you can still, in my opinion, always learn from people. I mean, I can learn stuff from a new hunter a lot of times that, I just didn't see, It's kind of like in the Bible where Jesus talks about people needing the faith of children,
Oh, yeah.
It's like just to see things in a new perspective is good sometimes.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that being said, we have had a couple of ragers. One guy, we had like several paragraph, conversation. And I was very glad. He was very civil, but he was also hacked. You could tell that I had
probably
shown
isn't
spots.
actually from Michigan if he's civil like that. I don't know.
Maybe. But he ended up deleting his comment after I told him. He kind of challenged me like, you wouldn't do this at your home spot. And I'm like, dude, 15 minutes down the road from my house, we did the most popular Map Scout challenge that we've done, a place that I hunt. You know what I mean? So I don't know what else to tell you. We kind of like I said, I told him we walk the walk, So anyway,
but in this world, they tell you not to look at YouTube comments, but sometimes you just need to just do it. You know what I mean?
So okay, and then I'll say this: I told Eric today, Eric Gentry. Y'all may have seen or heard of him. I told him, I was like, man, I probably shouldn't have said nothing, but I got hacked off last night. I'm tired, been up since 5,
It always catches you.
I'm sitting there like 9:30 and I'm like, this dude from halfway across this nation right here trying to challenge me. So I responded. Probably shouldn't have, but I usually just let those slide off my back, but sometimes you just get in the wrong mood and you just hope that you don't do something dumb. And I've become, I feel like, at least for the most part, pretty good at responding to people without using sarcasm, and it usually turns them a little bit, even into the point in this case where he just deleted his comment.
Yeah. So if you haven't and you want to see what all the fuss is about, go over to YouTube and watch the newest Map Scout Challenge video. It's from Michigan, and it's a real good one. We got a solid buck on there.
Oh, man. It's a couple of good bucks, man. And then Indiana will be coming out this week. And, again, I'm just big thanks to OnX for helping us put that on. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a real big learning experience for us, I think. And it's taught us so much. And then I start looking at some of the stuff we've seen traveling across the country because we have been blessed with that opportunity through our partners with, OnX and others. And I just think, man, this is cool. We've seen some cool stuff.
I mean, not to just go on and on about, OnX, but the crop data layer pretty much found us that spot that we went to.
Yeah, we were looking for something besides corn because we knew a lot of corn was going to be in production this year. And we were looking for beans and ended up also looking for alfalfa as well because we weren't seeing a lot of beans. And it saved us.
It did. We found a good spot.
Not only did it save us, but like I'm sad to show that spot because that's like a spot I would like to go in a couple of years,
Go check it out. It's all right.
Anyway.
Yeah. And you know what else is cool about modern technologies is the fact that we can now set cameras all across the country and just sends us high-quality pictures. You know what I mean? We've been using these Moultrie Deltas, and I'm not going to fluff these things either, man. I mean, they're a $99 cell cam, but what they can do is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Like you get a picture right away. You can set it to right away, but we do, twice a day uploads or whatever. And shoot, man, there's a picture that's good enough to tell you if that's a deer you want to shoot or not on your phone, like instantaneously.
Without even high resin, without requesting the high res, like most of the time you can tell pretty good what it is exactly, man.
Resin. Which
high resin.
Which is, you use that in a funny way, but the other day we were trying to describe a certain manufacturing process, and I could not come up with the word resin. You remember us talking about that? Yeah, but anyways, so those Moultrie Deltas are pretty cool. Go check that out if you haven't, guys. It's not too late to get a couple of those out before season. We're actually going to do that probably after our first deer hunt.
Yeah.
Which is coming up quick.
Man. By the time this thing releases, we'll be 10 days from hunting. Or from leaving, not from hunting.
Yeah, from leaving.
So
when's hunting start? You got to have a weapon in your hand to hunt.
Well, that's true. That's a good point.
I don't know.
I guess you wouldn't want to tell a game warden I'm hunting.
It depends on,
yeah.
Like, probably different levels of definition to that. Because, I'm sure when y'all went on Heath sheep hunt, you're on the hunt as soon as you got on the airplane, right?
Oh, dude.
You're on the sheep hunt.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way I used to, like, when I used to get out early on Fridays to go hunting at the lease or whatever, somebody asked me, I'd be like, I'm going hunting.
That's right. But if you pulled into a gas station, you wouldn't tell them I am hunting.
No. No, you wouldn't. It's interesting.
Let me ask y'all something, by the way. If I say hunting with a G, do you think it's weird? Or does it just like flow? And,
Yeah.
Tell us that. Because,
Good question.
I don't ever use the G, and I kind of wonder if that's pretty normal for a lot of folks. But
I think I only use it when I'm talking to somebody who uses it. Not only, but like when I try to be a little more proper.
Yeah, that's what I do. When I'm talking to a non-hunter, I usually say hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird too.
Maybe that's, maybe it's not as natural. So
Dude, in high school, I couldn't do it at all.
Oh, no.
But like, going to Dallas and then just meeting a lot of other people along the last few years, I'm just like, okay, I can say it if I need to.
I know some killers from the Texas Hill Country that they say hunting all the time.
Because they're German.
That's right. That's right. You pronounce the G when you're German.
That's right.
Can't be Herman.
German.
But anyways, so we have a deer hunt coming up quick, and we're going to talk about some of the packing and all that stuff that we're doing for that, because I know a lot of y'all, especially, we haven't talked about this yet. Okay. But I know a lot of y'all are going to travel to hunt sometime this season, and I took a poll, an improper poll, this past weekend when we did our Hagerman event. So thank y'all if you're listening and you came to that. That was an awesome, awesome thing to get to do.
I had so much fun.
I know, dude. I've talked to like 6 different people from that event since that, and it's been like 4 days, like it's just like we made a bunch of new friends, so it's pretty cool. Anyways, it seemed to me that most of those individuals were going to travel 2+ hours away from home to hunt at some point in time. And I'd imagine a good number of those guys are actually going to probably sleep away from their house. When they're going on trips like that. So I think it's something worthy of talking about. But we ourselves have to do some packing, and we were worried that maybe one of the super important parts of our packing list wasn't going to be here. But alas, it has happened. Team Element has gone and gotten some new bows. Yep. We have new bows. They came in. Tyler and I are going to be shooting Elite Encores this year. Elite's not paying us, but they did send us some bows. We're real thankful for it. So I like it that way. I needed one. Yeah, you did.
I had cam lean all over the place.
Yeah, your bow's over 10 years old.
Yeah.
And you and I, before a season or two ago, we're both shooting bows that were like 15 years old. And I had a new, I have a Tri-Ax that I've shot for a while, and it's okay. I don't like the shorter axle to axle, but it needs a new string and a couple other things done to it. So it's kind of like, what do I do? Do I get a new string put on this thing? But now we got those Elites. We're going to shoot those. We're actually headed to On Target in Canton to put that stuff together on Thursday. But anyways, pretty excited to have new bows. I am not a guy who gets a ton of new stuff. I get a lot of new to me stuff. I think you're kind of the same way.
We've gotten a bunch of new stuff recently, though.
We have, and we're going to talk about that. Yeah, for sure. We've been getting some stuff, but I do like the fact that we can do like a serious review of these things, and it's not skewed or anything by somebody giving us money to say things or whatever, which we don't do that stuff anyways. Y'all know that the partners that we have are people that we really do believe in and like ownership and products. But, these Elites, we just get to shoot some bows and then tell you what we think about them. It's going to be pretty nice. And I, for one, am excited to have these things because I went to that 28-inch axle to axle with the Tri-Ax, and that was just too short for me. It just was not very forgiving. You pair that with, trying to shoot fixed blades, which is kind of what I like to shoot often. I'm going to shoot some mechanicals too this year just to have a good even mix of everything. But and you just have a tuning nightmare pretty much.
You're talking about shooting around corners, bro.
Yeah, for real. It's not really tuning because everything's like how it's supposed to be, but the human error is just so amplified. Mm-hmm. Whereas I think these Encores are 20 or 32 or 33. I don't remember which one.
I think 32.
So they're kind of in that mid-range of axle to axle, which is going to be real nice, real forgiving, but also still shooting pretty good. So I'm pretty stoked about it.
You got the blue one, right?
Yeah, a baby blue. It was the color of her eyes and the sky. So I figured that would be blending in, kind of like what was that guy on Mortal Kombat that was kind of clear? You know what I'm talking about?
Iceman or something?
No.
Mr. Freeze? What was his name? Gosh, there's people screaming at us right now.
I know it. It's all right. But that's how my bow is going to look in the stand, I think. I actually got ghost blind material and wrapped it around it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So be in good shape. But no, I have the Forest Brown, I think is what it's called. I think so. It's what a bear leaves in the woods. That's why they call it forest.
It's a song dog log.
It does look good, though. I thought it looked real good. It's kind of like a mocha or something like that. So it's pretty slick. You got the charcoal color.
Graphite gray, I think is what it's called.
Gray.
It's kind of a light charcoal. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like today. It's a cloudy day. It's kind of the same color as that sky, but a little bit darker.
Yeah.
So it's all right.
Yep.
I think it's cool, really.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
one I ordered.
Honestly, man, we overthink a lot of this stuff because most of the time when a deer looks up, we are an outline.
Yeah.
We are a
silhouette.
That's what we're looking for. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. And on an overcast day, they probably can see some color up there or whatever. But the idea is just not get yourself silhouetted.
Yeah. Don't be a bear in the trees.
That's right. Don't be a big old ball up there.
Yeah. No, I'm excited, man. We're going to go get those things tuned up and ready to go. Get some D-loops put in them, some peep sights, add the accessories that we need, and hopefully put, what do you say, about 200 arrows through it? We need to put 200 arrows through it? I think that's kind of the
standard. I mean, I don't know what Elite says. Some manufacturers like to say that, our bow, you don't have to worry about string break-in, but that's not. We're going to worry about it. Or not worry, but we're going to make sure it's broke in before we head to Nebraska, which is in 10 days from when you hear the podcast. So we'll have 10 days to shoot 200 arrows and get everything dialed in, which I don't really foresee a problem at all with that. So, because really, once that string settles, the neat thing about these Elites is that you can tune it yourself, even beyond like knock tuning, rest tuning, all that stuff. Like there are Allen wrench spots on the bow to tweak the limbs a little bit and like they're designed to do this. It's not like something that we're just being like back shop kind of thing. Yeah. So even if things do get a little bit out of tune as string break-in or whatever happens, so we should be pretty set. And I like, so y'all know we've kind of done the heavier arrow thing, and we're shooting vectors this year and really like them. I've been shooting them some at the house with my Tri-X, but I like this thing about shooting heavier arrows, but also shooting a fast bow, heavy poundage. So you're kind of like, you're not shooting slow, but you're not shooting blistering fast, but it's kind of like that athletic middle linebacker who weighs about 250, you know what I mean? That's a bad mamma jamma.
You're talking about NFL, right?
I don't ever talk about the NFL, actually. I always talk about college.
Ain't many college guys weighing 250, but there's a few of them.
Yeah, there's a few of them. I think, well, that doesn't matter. Y'all don't care. But I don't want to spit off some random A&M stats that none of y'all care about. Is it snowing outside?
Yeah, I think it is.
There's a snow hatch going on.
Yeah,
I
see that. Yeah,
it's wild. But anyway, so that's the new bows we're going to shoot.
What sight are you going to shoot?
Along with the Elites came CBD. C. It's the marijuana
Y'all should
stuff.
see K.C. right now.
CBE.
Eyes closed.
That's
thinking
right.
so hard.
That's right. CBE. Custom bow equipment.
That's it.
It's like a single pin engage hybrid, I believe it's called. Has a light in it. I've never shot one of those. We got the.
Is it a 3-pin?
I have a 1-pin.
Yeah.
I think you got 3-pin.
What is hybrid about the 1-pin?
I don't know.
Is it actually called a hybrid?
It's called hybrid, yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if that was the 3-pin or the 1-pin.
It's probably a pretty good marketing word, to tell you the truth of the matter.
Hybrid.
Yeah.
I think we should have a hybrid podcast.
That's right. We should talk about all the hybrids. That would be kind of fun.
Dude,
off-season podcast.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Gummit. All right, let me write that down.
You know what Pop calls them? Hybrids.
Hybrids?
Hybrids. He also calls them triple hooks.
Burner.
But so yeah, I'm going to shoot a single pin. This is the first time you're going to shoot a slider. But you have 3 pins, so you have 20, 30, 40.
How many deer am I going to wound this year?
None.
New bow 10 days before I leave.
None.
New sight. that, by the way, moves all the pins. I don't know if you knew that. It doesn't just move the bottom pin.
Yeah.
Scary.
You just got to make sure. It's just like anything else, man. You got to have kind of a pre-swing routine or whatever, like in golf. The same thing with archery equipment. I always look at my peep. I always look at my D-loop before I draw. I mean, it might just be like a half second, but you just glance and you just kind of make that a part of it, where you just check your sight, make sure you're rolled to where you're supposed to be. And
I like to just get in the zone.
Well, though, like...
I mean, I check it all, like, when I get in the stand.
Yeah.
I just don't check it before a deer comes in, though.
Well, if you're in the stand, how often are you going to shoot longer than 40 yards?
Never have.
Never
actually.
have, yeah. So, like, just always leave it on that, and then when we're in Nebraska...
shoot one at 87.
Yeah, that's right. But,
skin.
if you're on the ground or you're practicing, but if you do have that routine of you always check in the stand, then you just check as soon as you get the stand and make sure it's rolled all the way down and roll with it,
Yeah.
So, I think you're in good shape.
Yeah, I think I am too.
It didn't take me any time last year to get used to a single pin slider.
Yeah.
No time. And then,
you're smarter than me and faster with the brain.
I shot over a 355-inch elk's back because I used the wrong pin, okay? So I'm not. In fact, I cannot process things well. But with a single pin, you don't have to worry about that because you only got one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true.
That's true.
Put it on him.
What else?
What release are you going to be shooting this year?
Cobra hook. I don't know.
Harvester?
No, Harvester's that orange one.
That's
Chris Webb and Eric got Harvesters.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that like that one.
I can't remember the name
including
of it, man.
Chris and Eric.
It used to be called the Moment, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's what it's called now or not.
It's a wrist sling like the normal ones, but it's got a hook. It's the same color as mine, right?
Yeah.
Dual caliper. I got a Wilderness dual caliber that I'm going to be shooting. Yeah. And it's real light, pinch to close. I like it.
That pinch to close is cool.
It is cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of probably an easier way to get it onto the D-loop without having to look at it kind of thing.
That's kind of how I am with that hook, man. I don't even have to look at the D-loop too much or at least long enough to, like, make sure everything's on there, I just kind of glance at it, make sure it's still there and go,
Yeah.
So it works pretty good. I like those a lot. I don't know if I'll probably mess around with some Eric or Chris's releases, the thumb button thing or whatever, but I just like
creeps me out.
The not tradition, but like I have found what works for me, and I don't care to mess with it when it comes to the release. It works.
Yep, that's kind of how I am too.
Yeah,
I used before Jake sent us anything new a couple of years ago. I used a Cobra for 15 years. Mm-hmm. Just the same one.
Yeah, you used the old school one.
It's like rusted, but it still worked.
That's right, man.
Yep.
That's all it takes. So
they last.
We're both gonna shoot vectors, but we're gonna mess around with broadheads some. We got some new broadheads to shoot. I actually have procured a couple more today doing some trades.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah, with Steven.
Our Element DIY group.
Yep, that's right. I want to shoot some single bevels, man, just because there's a bunch of hype around them. Mm-hmm. I think more this year than ever before.
Yeah, I feel like too.
I feel like people are on the rage about single bevels.
Dude, let me just tell you, not to take us off the rails here, but the single bevels are in the rage right now. And you know what else has been in the rage?
What's that?
To be 100% honest, Cruiser XC.
Yes.
Dude,
lots of
every
talk.
time I get on that, there's a Facebook group. I can't remember what it's called. It's about saddle hunting or something, but it's like 40,000 followers or whatever in that group. Dude, I'm talking to every time I get on Facebook, there's a post from that group talking about this saddle or this saddle, and there's a ton of people just going, XC.
Yeah,
and
I think.
Chad told us, Chad actually came down to the event this weekend, Chad Rice with Cruiser. Chad Rick Rice. He was, you may have heard him. He's been on the podcast once, about May, I think. Anyway, he was down for the event this weekend, and that dude is a busy man these days.
He is. He is filling some orders.
I think people have realized it is probably the most comfortable saddle out there.
Put it on today and did a video about how to hang saddle fast. That'll come out pretty soon. But I just kind of stayed up there in it for a while because it felt good.
Yeah.
It's where I need to be.
Yeah. Then you went and ran a mile in it, didn't you?
No, I did not do that. Took it off shortly thereafter. I mean, saddles are made to be worn in a tree. I've about decided. There ain't no way to put one on and just walk around on the ground and be like, oh, this is cool. I'd wear this just out on the town.
Diaper pants.
Looking like my son after he wakes up in the morning. It's just
take a big whiz and then just go running around.
That's right. That's right. So
anyway, broadheads.
Yeah, broadheads. We're both going to shoot heavier arrows with the vectors, and I think you're going to do mostly mechanical, if not all mechanical. Is that correct?
I have no plans to shoot a fixed this year right now. But if I'm like tagged out in December and I want to go hunt some hogs,
why not? Right?
I might be doing that. But
yeah,
I mean,
what about if you end up, say, on the ground in some secret state? Are you going to then consider shooting a fixed because it's like close quarters? And
I think I'm going to be shooting a Sever 2.0.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's what I've decided.
Fancy.
We talked to Mr. Lusk a couple of weeks ago, and he shot a lot of broadheads, and he likes that Sever a lot.
He does.
So I think that's I think I would think with the new bow and, a fairly heavy arrow, I would think that I'm going to be able to look at this buzzard about to fly in our window right here.
What is he doing?
I would think I would get enough, especially when you're talking about like, there's a good chance what we're talking about here is some plans that we've made that I'm shooting this deer at like 7 yards. So
from the ground too,
in the chest.
You better be drawn. You better do that when you can hear, because
that's exactly what I'm going to do. Like once I hear him coming, I'm going to shoot.
You also better mentally prepare to be like, okay, don't get excited.
Yeah, don't shoot.
Don't shoot a 2-year-old.
Don't shoot a 12-inch wide deer.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, unless you want to,
but that's
I've
not
seen
really
some giant 12-inch wild deer, by the way.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Cody shot 148-inch 12-inch.
I know,
12-inch wide
Isn't that
deer.
Wild?
Yeah.
So I think that's probably a good choice because they have that pivoting head or pivoting blade system, right? So like.
Go around the shoulder blades and whatever else you might have to encounter.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Ribs
and so I think I'm going to get I found a $100 gift card that I forgot I had. It's kind of like one of those Visa ones or whatever, And I think I'm going to get a sharpening system to sharpen broadheads with, which probably won't work with some of the lighter duty mechanicals we have. But I think Severs, you might actually be able to sharpen blades on Severs. I'll have to check it out and see because they're pretty, they're pretty heavy duty.
We just got a bunch of them in the mail, so I'm ready, dude.
I know, dude. Like, they look good. Don't leave the pin in them though. You can shoot them at a target.
So they don't open.
Yeah,
so they don't dull themselves.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, that'd be.
I'd actually advise don't only do that like once or twice to make sure they fly good. Which dude, they're gonna fly fine.
Surely, right?
As long as they spin right.
Yeah.
But you end up tearing up a target real bad. Because it's just ripshawing all the way through there. It's not actually cutting; it's just grabbing. But, anyways, I think I'm gonna get a sharpening system. That way, we can resharpen broadheads and stuff. If any of the single piece 3 blades are real easy to sharpen on something like that, and then you can get a little like rolly wheel thing. I've been looking at KME and Stay Sharp. I think Stay Sharp's the one that John Lusk uses and likes. So I've been looking at those a little bit and gonna do a little sharpening and stuff. So
what broadheads are you getting and what are you gonna shoot? You're gonna try to shoot everything this year, right?
Yeah, I'm shooting as much stuff as I can. We used some last year that I probably won't use again this year because the blood trails weren't very good. I am gonna shoot some Grim Reaper hybrids. Some Grim Reaper Whitetail specials.
Me too.
Those are bad at the bone, dude. I mean, I just like to open them up and look at them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I'm going to shoot those. I'm going to shoot some.
You trying to chop their heads off with those?
It says "Watch Them Drop" is the name of is their
I believe
theme.
it.
I believe it too.
I would like to do that too,
especially if we're out west because you can see them. I'm going to shoot those, and then when it comes to fixed, I'm going to shoot an Exodus, I believe, which I've shot in the past. The old meat bucks that come to an Exodus.
I watched the meat buck last night.
Dang, dude. I know.
That's a good video, dude.
It's cool, man.
I know. Like nobody wants to go watch a spike get shot, but like I wanted to.
It was fun
because I can just remember eating, some ice cream and getting that call.
Nothing like ice cream on the 1st of January.
And then, dude, we haven't got to do a whole lot of recoveries together. And that was a daytime recovery, which is awesome. Because it's way fun.
We never get to do that.
It's way more fun in the daytime.
Nameless,
and
meat buck, and that's it. Everything else is shot in the evening.
Yeah.
But, so, let's see. I'm going to shoot maybe some VPA 2-blade double, so they're called penetrators. I might do that. I don't know. I don't know if I really need a 2-blade double bevel. I'm gonna shoot a cutthroat single bevel and a cutthroat 3-blade. Maybe some annihilators, maybe some iron wheels. I don't know. We'll see.
If you don't shoot an iron wheel, you're not a man.
That's what I hear, dude. Apparently, at least you don't have a social media account, because that's all that matters, right? So I think that's probably. I mean, I don't really have much of a reason to do much else except just testing out different brands. But I kind of wanted to hit all the, types of broadheads. I'm not going to shoot any rear deploy mechanicals, not because I have anything against them, but I shot Rages for a long time, and I know they work, but they're single use for sure. They thin little blades, they're one and done.
Yep.
So, but yeah, that's kind of my.
How many grains is your arrow going to be by the end of everything?
So I'm actually getting tricky about this. I'm going to use some lighted nocks and some not. Because a lot of these, like single bevels and stuff, it's hard to find 125s, or the 150s seem to be better because of mechanical advantage, but yada, yada, y'all don't care. So I'm going to shoot some 150s in some of that stuff. And on those, I'm not going to use a lighted knock, and I'll make up the difference, and it'll be like super high FOC. And then on my 125s, I'll use a lighted knock, and I'll be about 8 grains difference or something like that, which can't shoot the difference, So you really, out to 50 yards, you probably can't tell.
That's my deal with this new bow, sighting it in. I'm like, man, am I going to I feel like I'm not that good at shooting a target. So like day to day, am I just going to be an idiot moving my sight around? And like, I like to have all summer to move it slow. I talked about that with you the other day.
Man, I feel like you're going to get it on there.
And
you're ripping, dude.
Let's go.
That's the thing is this. It's just that grip is nice, and you're going to be able to replicate it a lot, and it's just going to be pretty smooth. Pretty smooth transition.
Can't wait. How many deer are you going to shoot this year?
Man, we talked about the team. Total deers for me individually, slicks and pokies, right? So
mule heads and pokes.
So I'm going to be optimistic because I like optimism. I'm going to say 4 bucks and 2 does.
Ooh,
that's right.
Half dozen,
man.
That's
right, man.
So, can you squeeze in all your broadheads in that many kills?
I don't know. I don't know how many I'm going to shoot, but there'll be some pigs around, I bet. And,
there's a chance.
They're liable to.
We saw pigs at our scouting session the other day.
We did. We saw hogs at the Hagerman.
Biggins.
I know, dude. There's always that one boar at the end that's kind of like
mad,
tailing it up.
Yeah,
he came out and looked at us.
Yeah, he wants to just let you know he really doesn't want to run off, but he knows what's best for him.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You better know. So, what else new do we have? We got a bunch of climbing systems.
Man, we got the Stick City going on.
Stick City, Texas.
We got, how many people have sent us sticks this year?
So we got Timber Ninjas.
Yep, early on.
Yeah, we've got those. We've got some Hawks.
We got the carbon, right? Timber Ninjas.
Yeah,
we don't have any aluminum.
We have Timber Ninja, carbon sticks, which are ridiculous.
They are ridiculous.
Guys, they are super expensive, okay? And I would not, penny pinch everywhere else to be able to buy them. You can get away with cheaper sticks. But if you've got a lot of money and you like to deer hunt, mobile, dude, it is as bad as it gets.
Dude,
they are sick nasty.
They are sick nasty, dude. Every time I pick up that stick, I'm like, oh my.
Yes, I know.
It's one of them things, man. Like if you're, 20 years old, listening to this thing, and you don't have a whole lot of money, maybe not. But if you're 26 and you've been working the oil field since you're 18, this is
don't buy that wave runner. Get these sticks.
Go have fun.
They are
for
cool,
real,
man.
Yeah,
they are. They are nice.
So we got those. We need some daisy chain for those, though, because we don't have any way to hang them.
I mean, you can buy that on some different websites or whatever. But
if you have an idea of what daisy chain we should buy, go ahead and send that to us in a message. We would like to see.
I think they probably come with that stuff, but Jason just sent us some to use and didn't have any with it. So we've had those Muddy Pros that you got a long time ago.
I still like them.
Yeah, they're nice.
They are.
They're a little loud.
Yeah.
Clicky clacky, but as far as like ding ding, they aren't really that loud, I don't think. But it's just like when the steps go down and stuff.
Yeah, they're real functional though.
Got some single step stuff. Those are, they are what they are. I used them all last season and they work pretty good. I think we decided today those might be a little bit slow. Yeah, because
especially with me,
you're using. First of all, it's probably the most finicky to get set on the tree, and then for every strap you run, it's one step. Where like today, I use those Hawk Helium, I guess they are, 3-steppers. And it's like, dude, I felt like 6 foot with one strap. You know what I mean?
They're long, probably pretty cumbersome through the brush. We hadn't used them yet, but dude, I would imagine if you had 3 of them things, there's no way. Well, you're probably getting 15 foot or close just on a straight tree with no branches in between.
And I think that's even with conservative gaps between your sticks too. Yeah. Like me. Yeah, I'll take a 5 foot.
K.C. will do a crunch to get to the next one.
Dude. As long as I can reach it, I can do a pull up and get up there. Don't do that, guys. So what else do we have that we can use?
So we got those Hawk. We bought those the other day. They were on sale, good price, and so we bought 3 of those.
Yeah,
right?
you can find those Amazon on a good deal. Yeah,
and so we got 3 of those. We're gonna try those out. We've got, we just got a bunch of XOPs in the mail as well.
Bunch of XOPs. Yeah.
So we got 8 of them.
I've been talking to Cody on the phone some. They just did a bunch of stuff all summer, but he got back and sent us. We got some 2-steps and some 1-steps, and they seem. And we were talking about it. They're kind of the working man's Lone Wolf custom gear. Yeah. They're not quite as light or all that, but they still function the same way. Yeah. So
they are. So when he says 2-step and 1-step, it's actually got 2 steps, but like each step has either one side or both sides sticking out from the
it has that little floppy. Not floppy, but like kind of like hands on a clock or windshield wiper style stick. You
could switch it to the left foot or the right foot.
I guess the original Lone Wolves were that way, I think, or something like that. Right?
Yeah, the Lone Wolves that Anthony had, we used in Nebraska a couple years ago, or had that system.
Yeah,
so. But yeah, they're cool, man. They're short. They're 20 inches, I think. No, 18 inches.
18 inches.
So they're kind of short. So I don't know. Like, we'll have to get them in the tree and see how many. It takes to get to a certain height on a straight tree. But I would imagine that's not the biggest deal for us. For some guys, including the YouTube expert that is hunting Michigan, you need to be 22 foot in the air or you're not going to have a good hunt. But
man, I got to 14 feet a lot of times last year with 4 single steps. So
yeah.
So
you can probably get there.
So that would be like 3.5 feet between each step, but I would get quite a bit on the bottom one.
Yeah.
So I'd have to be 3 feet between each step. And 3 foot is
not
that much.
I put an 8er on my bottom step 2 years ago, 2019, and had I was able to hang my first step like head high almost, and then had 2 steps that I made out of rope. It was jank,
It was.
It was not probably safe. But like either way, I was able to hunt 13 to 16 foot a lot, pretty comfortably after getting off that first step. But I mean, you also, it depends on how comfortable you are. Personally, I don't like to get into the stand or platform. I don't like to go too far on that.
Like to step up too.
Yeah, I like it a small step up. It's just way easier to me.
Yeah.
And that platform can shift and stuff,
If you, it's one of those situational deals where like sometimes you just feel like you really need it, know. But at the same time, this is one of the things that we talked about on this scouting trip with all the guys this weekend. Is that until the leaves drop in East Texas, dude, 12 foot's kind of like where you want to be. If you get too much higher than that, you can't see anything.
Dude. Cannot see.
Yeah.
I mean, and you think about this, dude. Like sometimes. if you got 4 steps or sticks or whatever, the further you get up the tree, the more dangerous it is to fall, right? So like when you're thinking about getting into the platform or whatever, I mean, if it's not like a place that's going to like hinder you from getting shots or whatever, like you're only gaining another foot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like how big of a difference is that really? So you kind of have to just, it's all dependent on the tree really.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you just start thinking about a little bit of geometry. You know, I'm looking at the deer. That's looking at me hard right there on the wall.
He sees you, dude.
He does.
It's got you silhouetted.
But, like, you think about what's peripheral versus what's like primary vision, you know, and a foot change is not going to make any difference until they're like 25 yards or closer. And by that point in time, they probably have already looked at you and decided if you're a threat or not in the tree. Because that's the thing people don't really ever think about too much is like deer see you every time, but they don't perceive you as a threat. And that's the difference. They may not even realize that. I mean, of course they don't realize you're a human, but they see that you exist, right?
Yeah.
It's just like I see that deer on the wall and I know he's not, I know he's dead. It's not like a deer I'm going to shoot.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of thing. Yeah, they just think you're part of the tree.
Right.
Yeah. But they
you know
see
what weirds me out?
What's that?
I feel like that when a deer sees you, it should look at a 90-degree angle to you, the way that they're built. But they look straight at you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that deer's eyes don't look like they should be able to see you very well with that big old wide head.
Well,
looking straight at you.
So this is stuff that's hard for us to understand as humans because our perception is so much different. We have binocular vision. Our eyes are on the front of our head, right? And I'm not going to go down any evolution spiel because y'all probably know where I feel about this stuff. But deer are made where they have a broader range of vision. That their eyes are set not on the sides of their faces, but way further around the sides of their faces. You know, so that deer actually is perceiving, like, if you took your arms and crossed them in front of you and pointed your fingers out, that's kind of where their vision goes to, right? So his right eye is seeing about 30 degrees beyond center line in front. And the deer's brain is lining those images up to where it's almost like whenever you take your phone and do a panoramic shot, you know, that's what they are actually perceiving as their normal, like just what they see in their vision. Whereas if we were to do that to ourselves, it would kind of like mess with our equilibrium and be like, whoa, what's going on? You know, but that deer can see his butt almost, you know, and he's just born that way, and that's how they live their lives.
Yeah, it's true.
It's wild, man. That's why I like when that doe is down there, got her head down eating corn, and she's pointed, you know, a little bit quartering away. Don't do it.
There's a good chance you'll still get seen.
That's right, man. Yep. If you can't, I mean, the good rule is like, as soon as you can't see their eyeballs anymore, that's when you know you can get away with some stuff. You know?
Pretty much, man. It's cool, dude.
Who we talked to about this stuff? Carl Miller.
Carl Miller.
That's
Dr.
right.
Carl Miller.
Dr. Carl Miller. And one of the biggest things I took away from him is that he talked about how deer have horizontal vision like much more than we do. So like when we're like, if I'm looking at you, I can perceive like down to your waist and above your head pretty good. But a deer is just much more horizontally inclined than what we are. So like just right above, you know, horizon line in their vision, it's blurry. It's kind of like our peripherals out here. Like it's real hard for me to tell how many fingers are being held up beside my head. Yeah.
But if you're walking at 300 yards on the horizon,
do not get skyline. Dude, we talk about that the other day. We were watching YouTube videos of some people hunting kind of spot and stalk style, and it's like they're bumping deer all the time. Like, man, I don't know how they saw us. It's like, well, it's because God made them to see things from a long way away, and you literally have the sun behind you. You know, like you look like just this black thing moving around up there. Yeah.
Black Panther.
That's right, man.
Yep.
So, anyways, we were talking about gear. We got nerded out. You have something else new.
What is it?
You have a new rangefinder.
Oh, yeah. I got a new rangefinder. I got a Bushnell through 1300, and it's supposed to have like a 24 millimeter lens or whatever, whatever they call it.
Come on, camera guy.
Anyway, it's supposed to, like, that was one of the bigger ones I saw, so I think it's going to gather more light. I know it's going to gather more light because I've got both of them in now, and I can tell it's going to be a lot
better than your Halo.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited about that. It's going to make my life easier around dark. Imagine if I'm getting shots then.
Yeah.
So.
Faux show. I think that's probably about it. Really.
Yeah. Did we get any other sticks? I feel like there's another stick somewhere, but maybe not.
I mean, I have those old Hawk razors.
Oh yeah.
I don't think they're in production anymore.
Yeah.
Those are solid on the tree.
Yeah.
But they're pretty heavy. So
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll use them too much. I might set them up at my house as permanents.
Oh, we got a decoy.
We do have a decoy. That's right. Boss Buck.
Mm-hmm.
Going to use that thing maybe in South Dakota, but definitely in some of the Midwest states.
Yeah.
For sure, man.
We're going to be bossing bucks around.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
But yeah, that's probably about as much gear talk as we need to do because I like gear more than you do, but neither of us are really like just gear nuts because we're poor. So thank you if you have sent us stuff in the mail because we wouldn't have it otherwise. It's just truth be told. But so from there, all this stuff has to go in a vehicle.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
You know what?
What?
We made a video and shows you how to do that.
Did we?
How to pack a truck for deer hunting video.
Dang, Nameless is in that thumbnail too, isn't he?
He is, man.
Oh my goodness.
So, how to pack a truck for deer hunting road trips, out of state DIY hunts. That's the title. It's in our How to Hunt Deer More Effectively playlist on YouTube. Yeah, it's it kind of shows the system we've used. So if you're interested in any of this after we talk about it, or anything we didn't talk about, it probably is in there because I just basically show everything I was carrying a year or two ago. So we haven't added just a ton of stuff.
We've tweaked some things. What would you say is the most essential part of packing a vehicle for a trip?
Just packing a vehicle, probably totes. So
that's exactly what I was going with.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got to have totes.
Tubs, totes, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, and just stack them in there in boxes. So my totes that I'll take on my trip, or on a trip with me, I've got this blue one behind me. That is my deer hunting tote. It's got all my accessories in it. Real quick, I'll just talk about a couple of things that are in here since it's right behind me. There's rubber gloves. There are rattling horns, a couple extra little camo pieces like net gator. There are knives for cleaning deer. There's extra milkweed. There are deer scents. There's AA batteries. There is extra grunt calls, extra horns for the decoy. A lot of extra paracord and rope, extra blaze vests. There is hand warmers, an extra rangefinder, a couple extra steps. I got trail cameras in here, which I have moved, actually. These are not trail cameras. These are extra straps. I've got extra bungees. Got a little extra gas, propane or butane gas.
I was like, what?
I got I got a knife sharpener, some tree steps, and I have it's actually a fishing fillet knife set, but I use it for cleaning up some deer.
Man, deboning deer with a fillet knife is pretty hard to beat.
Yeah.
It's a good tool.
So
for sure.
that's what's in that box.
Yeah.
We're going to have another tote that's got, well, probably, maybe not. We've got a tote that's got all our trail cameras in it right now.
I think that's going to be more of like a layaway system or whatever.
Yeah.
Just kind of
So
go grab
we'll
what you
carry
need.
some with us out of state.
Yeah.
I've got another tote that will have basically all like my camera stuff that is pretty much field camera stuff. So like tree arms, fluid heads, extra fluid head pieces, all of like extra tripod stuff. Usually put tripods in it. And then I will carry, if we're camping, a couple of camping totes. So you and I both will probably have food totes. We'll have camping totes that have sleeping bag, air mattresses, sleeping pads in them, maybe some cooking supplies, a couple of air pumps for air mattresses, and maybe like cooking stuff, so like skillets and pots and pans and stuff like that in those totes. So I think that's all the totes, but I do have we'll have this hard case with us a lot this year. It's got a bunch of backup productions equipment stuff, so camera stuff, batteries, mics, all that kind of stuff, in little pieces.
Which is stuff that most people aren't dealing with,
Yeah.
you know.
So
if you don't if you don't film your hunts, I suggest not starting. We say that pretty often, but it is fun. But
that's I think that's kind of most of my totes. I think I carried another tote last year that had like extra. We'll probably do this too. It has backpacks. Mm-hmm. So we carry a backpack for packing deer out if the state allows it and we need to pack one out. Mm-hmm. And we don't want to use the deer cart. Then we can put some backpacks in there.
What is your range for a deer cart?
I don't know.
Depends on terrain.
Terrain.
Like, say half mile. Anything over a half mile, I really don't want to have to cart the deer out unless it's pretty easy going,
Yeah.
Which we talked about getting a new deer cart this year, and we didn't do it. If y'all have suggestions on which one to get, let us know, because we have the Amazon one. It's cheap and ding-dongs a whole bunch, but gets it done.
What about you?
So my stuff's kind of like yours. I don't really have that box as much with just all the random stuff in it. I kind of have that stuff spread out in different places, I think. I actually need to do a little bit more organizing, so I'm kind of glad we're talking about this. But I'll also have a tote that has all my camo pieces in it that I'll carry. And usually, like, on trips, I'm going to carry one layer more than what I think I will need on a normal hunt. That way you're prepared for the weird cold front or whatever that happens, So, like, for Nebraska, we're going up there, it's going to be pre-frost, but it is going to be cooler than what it is here, hopefully, please. But so I'll probably take, what you would end up wearing in early November on a nice, like, frost day or something, and that's going to kind of be what I bring. And that usually fills up a tote because, jackets and stuff are kind of fluffy. And then I'll have a little duffel of just, like, street clothes and probably my base layer stuff, which is going to be like those Wrangler breeches and, microfiber shirt or element shirt or something like that. And then
I carry my camo in a big duffel.
Yeah, I need a big duffel. I might do that one of these days because what's nice about that is you can shove it places.
Yeah.
Whereas a tote, you have to have that space.
Yeah.
I need to get a big duffel like that. Like
we've got so many totes now that are going with us that it's getting to the point where, like, if you want ice chests in the truck as well, it gets rough.
That's what we were talking about that today because we are going to bring a nautical device with us to Nebraska and got a little sneaky kayak that y'all might get to see one of these days. Who knows? But anyways, we with that, we are running out of room quickly if we want to bring 2 ice chests, which you think 2 Nebraska bucks to fill up 2 ice chests?
I do.
Yeah.
I don't think you could fit 2 Nebraska bucks in one of our big ice chests unless you had them both boned out and got lucky.
Yeah.
But maybe. I mean,
it's not worth the risk.
I think if they're not boned out, then it's going to be tough. So that's the thing is, like, may not have time to bone it out while we're there.
Yeah. Might as well come prepared. And what we talked about, too, is that you can take things like tents and other larger but slightly soft things and put them in one of the ice chests. It doesn't have to stay cold until like the second guy shoots a deer. And at that point in time, you're throwing everything in the truck, just messy, going to town, getting ice, and heading home. Like there's no hanging around too much after that. So you just get that done. So in general, after that, we have other things we have to put in the truck, like ice chests. We have 2 big Igloo ice chests that we'll take with us. I have a Yeti 45, but it's not big enough to put a Midwestern deer in, and I don't know. It just doesn't seem to have much of a place in the system. It just it keeps things cold, but so does ice. So there's no reason to having too much more in there. We are going to bring a soft side little cooler that you have. Because that last day we might be taking food from one ice chest and putting it in that so we can get it home or whatever. And then bows are a big concern. I know that you are a hard side case guy through and through. I kind of go back and forth. I'll probably bring a hard-sided case to Nebraska if we have room, and then by November I will ditch my hard-sided case and be just carrying my bow in the back seat. But it depends on how many people are going on the trip and stuff like that too. Because last year we had bows in the back seat, and it felt like I got stomped on a little bit.
Yeah, definitely did. Along with cameras and lenses.
And everything else.
Cameras and lenses were broken and stomped on.
So that's another consideration is bow cases. I found that usually you can stack 2 totes on top of one another, and then a bow case goes above that. So that's the next question is you got right there a hunting pack. That's a Sitka tool belt. Do you pack a pack before you get there, or do you do it once you get there?
Yeah, mine's packed. So, and this will change because I know there's something, 1 or 2 things missing out of this pack right now, but this is early season, so should be okay with most of the stuff. I've got in this pack, got a rangefinder. I got I got 2 pull cords. I've got some D-clips or carabiners on them. Those are for pulling up gear. And then I've got this orange stuff here, orange paracord, which is for tying limbs or anything else that I need to be high-vis. I've got tree steps where those are legal. I've got TP. I've got a bunch of cords for charging phones and cameras. And then I've got in the side pouch here, I've got some wind checker.
Like
milkweed.
Okay.
And then I've got a bunch of AA's and AAA's. I've got an extra headlamp, which is one of those little cheap clip-on hat lamps.
I love those things, man.
Yeah, they're super cheap at Walmart, worth getting because they're super light as well. You put the batteries in upside down and just use it as a backup to your other headlamps. But you got to have a backup headlamp. Got to have one. And then an SD card holder in here. And I'll put, basically when I get there, if I want to put horns in there, I'll grab them out of my blue tote here. If I want to put, I got a grunt call in here too. And then if I want to put, I'll put power in there once I get that charged up as well.
So we run Anchor, I believe they're 20,000 megahertz or something like that, kilohertz. Like external power sources, they'll charge an iPhone about 10 times or something like that. So they're nice to have. They weigh like 8 ounces a piece or something like that.
Yeah. And then I will put water and sticks on there and put clothes in there that I need for the day. And so pretty much it's ready to go outside of, I don't know if I said extra SD cards will probably go in there too. And then, as we go throughout the season, it kind of depends on where we're going as to whether I carry a trail camera or something or, add this or that. But and then I'll put my camera probably in there. Depends on what I'm doing. If I'm self-filming, I'd like to I have this little like clip thing that goes on my shoulder. I need to figure out where that thing is. I think it's actually in there. And I'll put that on there so I can get my like if I'm walking in and a deer spooks or whatever, so I can get footage of them, or whatever, or just tell the story.
Doesn't happen.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. So that's kind of that. What goes in that that bag or whatever, and I just add to as I'm on the trip, if I need anything or whatever. But
let me ask you this: how do you decide what goes in the cab and what goes in the bed?
Basically, my cab stuff is like my overnight bag, all camera equipment. And maybe clothes. That's really about it, I think.
It's kind of nice to not pack your cab like to max capacity.
Yeah.
Because then you end up like wanting the trail mix that's on the bottom and you got to either can't get it or you got to stop and dig it out or whatever it is,
Food. Yeah. Definitely put food up in the cab. Some
snacks,
food,
at least.
Snacks or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Trying to think of what else.
How do you determine what sleeping arrangements to bring?
If I'm truck camping, I'm sleeping on an air mattress for sure. There's, in my opinion, no reason to sleep on a sleeping bag. You didn't share that with me last year when we went to Nebraska, South Dakota. Anyway,
but this year I'm subscribing to your methods for sure.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
If anytime you can sleep on an air mattress instead of a sleeping bag pad, that's the way to go. And then, for me, like if I'm hunting somewhere that's not like below 70-ish at night, I'm probably not camping. And I've done it. I did it in Nebraska a couple of years ago. Terrible nights. But that's probably kind of where I'm at on that. So basically sleeping bag, and I just leave it open if I, don't want it to be hot or whatever, if I get too hot. And then just basically if there's like 3 or maybe even 4 of us max, I would probably do like my 6-man tent. And if there's 4 or more, we can talk about our solo tents and stuff.
Yeah, splitting it up or whatever. It's nice to have one of those solo tents around too to put gear in if you need to as well. I'll probably bring mine just in case for that reason, which 2 of us, we shouldn't fill up that 6-man too bad.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Yeah, it's nice to have. Yeah. So when's it too cold to sleep out?
I think you're a little more against camping in the cold than I am. For me, I don't know. Like, if it's below 20, that's pretty,
pretty cold.
At night, that's not really the funnest to wake up to.
It's not. That's the tough part. Like, I don't mind sleeping in the cold. It's the getting ready in the cold that's pretty terrible. We camped in Iowa and it was like 14 degrees that one year.
Yeah.
And that was terrible.
We had some pretty cold nights in Colorado here and there, too.
We did. Well, last year we stayed in the ice box.
Yeah.
Like
snowing,
we were clearing snow to put our tents out.
Like 9,500 feet and snowing.
It's cold, man.
Or maybe even higher than that.
I think it was higher than that. I think it was 10-1.
Yeah, there was snow. So, but like, I don't know. I'm pretty, like, if you camp in the cold or if you're camping and it's pretty cold, I mean, I think last year all I did was I put all my stuff in the bottom of my sleeping bag and it stayed pretty warm. So I just put it on in my sleeping bag and I was ready to go. I mean,
I'm slower in the mornings than you are.
Yeah.
So it's pretty tough for me to get going when it's
cold. You
cold.
like to kind of sit and sip some coffee and stuff. And like in the cold, that's not very fun. For me, I can just go 0 to 60 pretty quick.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the difference. I guess it depends on your personality as to what you want to do there.
Yep.
But I'll tell you this, if you are a guy that's running carbon sticks, you probably should just get a hotel room if you can.
Why not? Be comfortable, right?
Yeah.
I'm all about that. And that's part of the reason why I say this stuff about, if it's super cold or whatever, because it's like, man, we're at the age where we're just kind of past the struggle stage unless we have to.
Yep.
Like by no means are we wealthy, but you can find $40 hotel rooms in the Midwest, in those little towns. So
especially for a week.
Yeah, exactly. You go in there telling them, hey, I'm going to be here 4 days, 5 days, whatever it is. They might give you a little cut rate. But, I mean, you sleep bad for 4 days straight, and you're not making good, clear decisions.
No.
That's part of the reason to bring the air mattress, too. It's the same thought.
And you don't want to go do the hunt again.
Yeah, your back hurts, and it makes you say, man, I don't know if I want to go a mile and a half in there today, And because, I'm hurting, or my hips are sore. Yeah.
Bust deer on the way in the morning because you're moving, setting your stand up in the daylight.
Which I can roll a little better whenever we're in a house or in a hotel room. You know, I can get up and go pretty quick. That makes a difference. But yeah, that's kind of the sleeping arrangements. What else is a big component for out of state, like packing or whatever?
I mean, I would say if you're going to be traveling this year, definitely don't forget to carry a mask. Unfortunately, like if you're traveling out of state, because I know for me and KC, like nothing changed out here where we're from. Like nobody wears masks. Been walking into the hardware store for the last year and a half. Nobody wears a mask, And I know there's some people out there that are probably like, oh, these are clowns from, rural Texas or whatever. But that's what it is. And so when I go somewhere, I totally am like, oh, I forgot my mask, man.
We did it at the airport.
Yeah.
They had to give us some.
Yeah. So, make sure that's another thing. If you're flying to hunt, man, the airlines are going to make you wear a mask, an approved mask, and not just like a gator. I've already tried that.
They'll give you some pretty freely, though. They're pretty cool about
they're fine giving you. But
so a little pro tip, it's 3-ply. So if you get your pocket knife out, actually you don't have pocket knife because you're at the airport, but you
rip it.
You rip the first 2 plies off. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can get real good.
You can breathe way better.
Yeah, way better.
But yeah, so that would be something to consider. Maybe think about
meals, like what to actually eat. We're talking about that some for Nebraska. We're probably going to do a lot of sandwiches just because they're super easy. Well, not super easy because we kind of tend to put lettuce and good stuff on it. I mean, that's another thing about this. Like, if you eat pretty good but don't stuff yourself, you can hunt better. You eat just bread, meat, cheese sandwiches. That gets old pretty quick, but you get deli meat, good cheese, some mayonnaise. I'm salivating. I don't know if you could tell, but
Man, me too.
But you just get
Lettuce,
you some good stuff, and like
tomatoes.
You can eat sandwiches for a long time and not get worn out on them.
Yeah, especially if you like to do the Mikey Snyder and put chips on your sandwich.
Oh yeah, give it some crunch. Yeah, and then probably you're a big fan of canned soups.
Yeah,
I've noticed
they're easy.
Yeah, they're easy to do in the evenings, and I can eat canned soup, like 4 of them, and get full. So,
Really?
It takes a lot.
Dude, like a real deal Campbell's, you don't go with that Progresso stuff. If you can get a Campbell's, man, they usually fill you up pretty good, man.
Have a hard time. But that's why you bring like some filler, some crackers.
Yeah.
Rich crackers.
Ramen. Ramen's easy too.
Yeah, ramen
and we use Pocket Rockets, which are just a little device that hooks up to one of those butanes. That
pretty
you can
much
buy.
a portable Bunsen burner is what it is.
It spreads out kind of like a mechanical broadhead. And then you just put a can of soup on it, heat it up, and eat it out of there with a spoon. Or you can, if you got something to heat some water up in, you can do ramen in a cup. So if you get those cup ramens, not the bag ones, then you can pour your water into that, let it, heat up, soften the noodles, and just go to town on that.
But you have a bunch more trash when you do those, so it's kind of a give and take. But when you're truck camping, you can have trash bag.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not in...
That's another thing to bring. Trash bags. Bring trash bags. Paper
big
towels.
Black ones. Yeah.
Bring lots of paper towels. Bring Walmart bags for mini trash bags and stuff like that as well. And Ziplocs for meat. Don't want to forget.
Yeah.
Big gallon Ziplocs are good if you got to boning stuff out.
Yeah, or if you want to keep like hearts or things like that too. It's just kind of nice to keep that stuff in its own deal. And then I guess the other thing to talk about is trophies.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about that at all. We actually got some tips from our taxidermist on this deal. So if you're going to go do a velvet hunt, if you're going to get I guess you could do this on either one, right? But you could, he says the best way to preserve velvet is to keep it cold, of course, but take you a hacksaw and saw the pedicle through like 3/4 of the way and then break that off. And then you got a puzzle piece to go back on the skull cap or to the skull. Either way, if you're going to do, he can put a little epoxy in there and make it look just like a Euro.
Explain better what you mean by puzzle piece, what you're trying to avoid there.
Yeah, so you don't want to shoot a 12-inch wide deer that's a giant or whatever. Let's go the other direction. You don't want to shoot a 22-inch wide, just big old South Texas monster, and then cut his antler off and not really know how it positions on the head.
Yeah.
And you get it back and it looks wonky.
So if you saw through completely, that thing could be turned any direction technically. Yeah. It may not fit like the puzzle piece. So if you break a little last piece off, then it fits like a puzzle, so it snaps back to where it was.
And then he takes a screw and screws it in there, fills that gap with epoxy, and you got your deer. And I think that you could do that for a cape or for a Euro mount, because then like you do that cut to cut the antlers off of a velvet deer that you want to, cape out and do a shoulder mount on. Then you just skull cap from there, and then you don't have to keep the head, which means you don't have the CWD concerns.
Yep.
And, clean that off, and then you just have a skull cap and then 2 antlers and a cape, and you're headed back home with a lot less mess, It's pretty
Put your cape and velvet and stuff in one of the trash bags so that doesn't get wet in the ice chest.
I'll tell you something, it can get funky down in there.
Yeah,
with all that stuff,
That's another thing. I'm going to try to think about this. Of course, I don't have a lot of time, but I wanted to make a rack that sits down like 4 inches off the bottom of the ice chest so that it keep your meat and cheese out of the water.
That's one thing about a Yeti is they come with that little black thing in there that's for that.
I know,
and I always forget, but. Dude, honestly, I do my best to bring frozen jugs, and just because then you don't have all that water. Because, dude, I've ruined so many lettuce heads and cheese packages and stuff like that because they get water on them. It's just nasty.
Speaking of water, make sure and bring water if you're camping.
Those 5-gallon square jugs are pretty hard to beat. You can fill that one up with hose water and drink it if you need to, or just use it as camp water. You're going to need a lot of water to cook and clean and all that kind of stuff.
Yep. And we got a shower this year.
That's right. Finally. We got a little solar shower, which this time of year should work pretty good. Yeah. I imagine if we...
towels. Might bring a towel, something like this.
I always have a towel because a lot of times I'll dual purpose that as my pillow instead of bringing a big old pillow. But if there's just 2 of us in the truck, I might just bring my pillow from home.
Sure.
which I don't sleep with a big old fluff pillow anyways. It's kind of thin. So, but it's pretty nice, to just have
Your
that
pillow is
creature
thin?
comfort.
Is that what you're saying?
Not me, for sure. Been eating. Yeah, I think that's all I can think of. If y'all have other thoughts of things that you want to make sure and bring or stuff to think about,
make a list. It's good
you're
to keep
a list guy.
And I haven't, there are times when it's just hectic and I don't get to use the list. But, ultimately, if you got the list, you got a lot of peace of mind and you don't forget much. And it just should be a running list that you have saved on your computer and on your phone and maybe in, physical form so you can go through and mark it all off or whatever. But, definitely good to have one that runs. And basically, my list is a hunting list. So whether I'm going dove hunting or hunting elk, I've got everything on there. I just mark off the things I don't need for that hunt.
Another thing to think about too is licensing.
Yes.
You need to make sure if your state is a digital state and you can purchase your license digitally and also tag it digitally, because we ran into that before. You can purchase digitally, but you actually need the hard copy. Well, you are, down a creek without a paddle in that situation, which is the right way to say that phrase. You better off just finding your Walmart or wherever to buy a license, but make sure you have that with you and you know how to properly tag game in that state, and then also know the CWD regulations for transporting deer here, there, and everywhere. So,
listen, guys, Facebook groups and the Element are a good place to find links to information, not a good place to find information sometimes. So don't rely on somebody in a Facebook group or call or message us or something and say, hey, can you do this on this WMA or whatever? Dude, I don't know. I can only read the rules as good as you can. The best thing you can do is call a game warden. And after that is, look at the actual documentation on the website for the state. And so, those Facebook groups are good, but just go, hey, can anybody send me a link? I can't find the link to such and such WMA or such national forest or grasslands or whatever. I don't know, if I can use a rifle there and what time, just make sure you're not asking if you can do it. You're asking for somebody to give you a link to that information, to the rules. So, because we got people that ask us questions, and I'm like, dude, I think this, but I am not your lawyer.
Come on, people. For sure, man. And I tell you what, I've done a lot of game warden calling, and I have yet to call a game warden and regret it afterwards. I've called the game wardens and had more fun or less fun conversations, but then you kind of know what you're dealing with, too. So it's always a good thing. We're going to a place this season where I know the local game warden is not my favorite type of guy. I'll just put it that way. People are different. And so I know to keep that in mind. Well, not that I'm going to do anything illegal, but just, one of those. So, it's always good to collect that information. But most game warden calls you make, the guys are just stoked that you actually care to follow the rules. It's crazy.
Have you called any game warden and left a message when he didn't call you back within about 24 hours?
No, I said that the other day. Yeah, usually, because I don't answer my phone if I don't know the number either.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
So you'll get, this is officer, or whatever on the voicemail. Just tell them, hey, I'm from out of state. I want to make sure I'm doing things right before we get there, and they'll call you within the next day, unless it's a weekend. Be smart about it. But usually get a call back, and who knows, man, you might make a friend.
Yeah.
It's good to know green britches.
It is, man. Last year in Illinois, I may or may not have told this story, but we had a green britches that we met the first night we got there, and he was super helpful. And that just because this is the first year hunting Illinois, and I'm having to learn all this stuff, and I don't know, but I don't think you're supposed to have guns in your truck and stuff, and all this and that. In Texas, we carry 3 minimum in our truck.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Don't mess with us.
I've got one under my seat. I got one under your seat. I got one in my, glove compartment. So, but he was real cool about all that and kind of just let me know, hey, he was a really, really fun dude. And I actually saw him, coincidentally, I saw him the day after I shot my buck and showed him the buck and everything. He was cool. He wasn't, he checked my license and stuff, but he wanted to see the buck before he ever checked my license because he was like real excited that I shot a good one, And so we talked for like 20 minutes before he ever even asked me, hey, he's like, I got to see your license. I know this is not cool, but I pretty much know you're good to go because I checked you a couple nights ago, whatever. But anyway, just that's the way it goes, man. Just, if you should be going around doing stuff the right way, because that's going to help us hunters in the long run and help you in the long run as well. The rules are in place most of the time because they make sense and they're conservation oriented and that kind of thing. So most of the time, but not all the time.
Yeah, but it's important to know the rules when you go out of state because either way, whether you agree with them or whatever, hey, you need to follow them because you want to be able to continue to go out of state to go to that place or in state, wherever you're going, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to lose any of your freedoms. So I think with that makes a pretty good how to go on an out-of-state hunt podcast. Like I said, if you have anything else you'd like to add or whatever, we'd really like to hear what you have to say.
Or questions. We're going to do another Q&A podcast here in the next little bit, couple months.
I think we said we're going to do those every 2 months or so. So probably on the way to South Dakota, we'll do one of those like late September.
Yeah. So submit questions now.
If you're going elk hunting, good luck, guys. I know a few of y'all are that I've talked to. So we're not going to do it this year. We're going to go shoot some big velvet bucks instead in
all of them
in one of these really cool states up north. So I want y'all to have a great week because you need to shoot your bow. You need to get dialed in, and you need to get excited because season is here. We about to rock and roll. So remember, this is your element.
Live in it.
Hey everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. Meat Eater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Yanni, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the engineer's going to be there. Meat Eater Live headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay? Every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Art Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, the Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.